Hello and welcome to week 2 of the Deep into Defense Mode course. My name is Danny Rady.
My name is Hayden Mears.
And welcome. So this time we're talking about safe places. This is the core. This is the overall arching thing of defense mode. How do you get out of defense mode? This is what we're going to be talking about. Last week we talked about all the understanding. This time we're going to talk about the actual how.
Yeah.
Next time, we're going to be going specifically deep into trust, which is a critical component of the how, and then we will be discussing all the things that you can do to speed it up and all the fun tools and tricks and techniques and toys and etc.
I would keep a notebook and a pen handy because we're getting heavy into the implementation now, and this is really important because this is going to answer all of your questions.
Yeah, and we're going to ask you to do some things.
Yeah. This is very much an active class.
Yes. So, with that being said, why a safe place? What is a safe place? The whole point of defense mode, last week we talked about all the traumatic energies and how they get processed and all that type of thing. What happens is the body naturally has a means to get out of defense mode. You do not need to do a thing.
Yeah.
The problem is that when you're in constant hyper-threat mode, like we talked about last week, where you're looking around, everything's a threat, you aren't going to be processing the current energies, you're just going to be build up.
Yeah, you're going to be adding to the negative energies you're already accumulating, and you're not going to be able to release any of it.
Yeah, so you build up, and then you switch over to that anger thing we were talking about last week. Oh my god, meltdown, and you get it all out.
Usually very explosive, sometimes violent, it varies with the person.
And then build up.
And it's a vicious cycle. It's the freeze-thaw loop.
Yes. So, if you need a refresher on that, go back and listen to the part about the freeze-thaw loop from last week. However, what we wanted to do now is talk about how the safe place works and how that is, it is really the critical component, because when you're in the safe place, no longer do you need to be on threat alert. You can start processing the energies and being with them. So, the processing happens naturally and automatically. You do not need to do anything. And I literally mean anything. The trick that a lot of people go, and why they say that this isn't working, well, I've done nothing all my life, why isn't this working, is when I say literally do nothing, I mean literally do nothing. Your job is to sit and accept the sensations. That is it. Yeah. Apply no meaning to them, apply nothing else. You just sit there and you just go, I have a warm feeling in my left arm. Okay, as opposed to being threatened by it.
And as the parent, all you have to do, since it's a natural biological response and release thing, all you have to do is help them get in that safe place, and then you have to let them process.
Yeah. So the thing is the processing only happens when you feel safe enough.
Yeah.
If this were actual, let's say defense mode is you're in a war zone, right? And you're like fighting. Mm-hmm. If someone takes you from the war zone and puts you in a heavily fortified bunker with like a moat and a ton of guards, and like you have like 20 people standing at every entrance to your door that's 3,000 feet underground, so you cannot be touched.
With 10 feet of like fortified steel around you.
Then you feel safe enough that you can stop being on alert, because you know that nobody's going to come and attack you, because that's just not going to happen in that situation. So, how do we do this? Well, again, you still want to have the feelings that you had in the threat mode, but you do it in a safe place so that you can take time to explore those feelings and actually see what they are, as opposed to being afraid of them and just freaking out. So what happens is the body starts to naturally process what this looks like. Is generally shaking and trembling, which is the tingling. The body's natural response to suddenly your limbs will start just like spasming and moving and doing all sorts of weird things. That's good. That's what you're looking for.
So and I understand that can be alarming to feel or to look at if it's another person experiencing it, but it's normal.
That is the body's way of release. Have you heard shake it off? Oh, you're fine, shake it off. That's where that comes from, is you are fine. Literally allow your body to tremble enough to release the adrenaline that is kept in your system through physical motion now, so that the adrenaline can be released and you can return back to non-threatening mode.
And the reason why it looks strange or out of the ordinary when people do this, or when people start shaking, is because no one does it, because everyone resists these sensations.
Because if you start, if you start crying or something, no, I can't do this place must resist, or your arms start trying to tremble, you're like, hey, stop that. you always want to be in the safe place is a time to stop being in control and just allow things to process themselves. Where you don't need to try and control everything to feel safe. You can allow things to happen knowing that whatever happens, you will be safe. So
this is crucial. This is really crucial. I hope you're paying very close attention because this is the core of this.
Yes, and don't worry, we will get to how do I create a safe place. That's the point of this.
Yeah.
We're not just going to say, okay, bye. So when the overwhelm is processed, then things start to happen and defense mode starts to kind of be replaced with normalcy, if you will. So
and a drive to and a yearning for growth and life.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Remember how we talked about how those parts of the brain switch off when you're in defense mode? I'm still working on this myself. I mean, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah, we both are.
But a few days ago, I was working with one of my people that I work with to get out of defense mode, and it got to the point where suddenly tunnel vision turned off, because that's a component of defense mode, and that was really, really weird for me to suddenly be like, oh, I have peripheral vision. Whoa, suddenly like my vision got a lot bigger. This is strange. And if you aren't used to it, immediately you get overwhelmed by it and think it's a threat, and then jump right back into defense mode. And by the way, that is fine.
Yeah.
This is not, okay, you're safe, deal with all your shit at once, and then go on with your life.
It's not an all or nothing thing.
You put your toe in the water to see if the water is warm or cold, and then you hang out for 30 days, and then you put your toe in the water again. Yeah. And eventually you get good at it to do it multiple times per day, and then you're just hanging out in the water. But you don't want to do it all at once. Because if you do it all at once, what's going to happen is you're going to feel everything, get super overwhelmed, freeze again, and then be traumatized against getting out of defense mode.
And then that's where stuff gets really sticky.
Because then you get this, like, defense mode's comfortable, and I'm scared to get out of defense mode because last time I tried it, I went too far and things were hellish.
Yeah, and a lot of people we've worked with are actually like, we've seen that they're 1 foot in and 1 foot out of defense mode.
Yeah.
They will exhibit some qualities of defense mode, but they will also be thriving socially, doing well in school, or having girlfriends, whatever. It kind of runs the gamut, and it's not one set way, and there's not one set symptom of it. It's a spectrum.
It's something that you'll have multiple parts of and stuff turn on and turn off, and you just kind of have to start accepting. So these things just start spontaneously happening because your body is relieved enough of the pressure and stress to turn on these biological and psychological systems again.
Yeah, and beneath all of that is that no reaction or behavior is going to be identical because we're people.
Yeah, and furthermore, the very act of those things turning on or off can be fairly overwhelming. Like if suddenly you don't have smell for 10 years and it turns on, that'd be fairly overwhelming for someone.
Terrifying, yeah.
So what you do is if you completely just back off and allow your body to handle it, it knows when to turn things on or off.
Your body is equipped with everything that it needs. You just need to let it do what it needs to do.
That's really the key of this, is let it do what it needs to do. Don't apply any meanings to the feelings. You're going to be all sorts of new, strange stuff. Is this a threat? Only if you want it to be.
Yeah. The body is an amazing thing. It's got our backs. It's got us. Like, it's there to support us and help us.
Yes. And that's why building the trust is so important, which we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah.
But establishing the safe place is really the key part.